Steve, where are we?
I don't know, Alex. I don't think we're in San Diego anymore. I found myself to be quite out of breath on my morning jog.
I believe it's pronounced jog.
Well, I prefer soft, Jay.
Anyway, the mountains, the thin air, I think we're in Boulder right now, Steve.
Well, how can you be sure?
It's all coming back now. That night at the club, when you played the Jazz flute, you volunteered us to host the CU College Sports Show.
Sweet Odin's Raven. Of course. Well, we might as well start our warm-ups then. Unique New York. Unique
Whammy!
New York. A tarantula enjoys a fine chewing gum.
Whammy!
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Whammy!
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Oh no, my mustache. It must be the altitude.
Wait, Steve.
Wow.
We're on. Forget the stash.
What?
Stop doing your vocal warm-ups, man, and forget the stash. We're live right now.
In that case, hello, and welcome to a very special and very spooky edition of CU Sports Mag. My name is Steve Nelson, and joining me on the desk today is my partner in crime, Alex Doyle.
That's right, Steve. You know what's really scary? Our special teams. Let's kick off the show with a recap of last week's grueling football battle at Stanford. The Colorado Buffaloes came into Saturday's road game at Stanford with momentum, following a victory against Arizona State. But a quick Stanford field goal in the first quarter put the Cardinal ahead. Yet, the Buffs would not be put down, scoring a touchdown in the second quarter to take the lead into halftime. The Buffs' defense was stout and held Christian McCaffrey to only rush for 92 yards, the former Heisman candidate's lowest total on the season. CU produced 4 takeaways. However, the offense was not able to capitalize on most of those opportunities.
That's right, Alex, and why the Buffs struggled to capitalize came down to one part of their game, field goal kicking. Starter Diego Gonzalez is out for the year, and backup Davis Price has mono. That put the ball on the leg of junior kicker Chris Graham. He missed 2 field goals, one from 42 yards and one from 28. That's when Mike McIntyre sent punter Alex Kinney into the game to attempt a 31-yard field goal, and he missed. Graham came back out and finally hit a field goal with just over 2 minutes left in the game. Despite the accuracy woes, it proved to be inconsequential, and CU held off Stanford 10-5.
With Colorado's win over Stanford, the program became bowl eligible. For the first time since 2007, Boulder's Buffs could be bowl-bound. CU can play in any number of bowls at the end of the season, but their hope is they will reach the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. The last time the team went to a bowl game, they lost to Alabama in the Independence Bowl. Yet, bowl eligibility is secondary for these Buffs, as their sights are still set on the Pac-12 championship.
The new and improved football team is no stranger to the Pac-12 Player of the Week awards this season. They have had 5 of their players represented on the list, and this is the most the team has had since 2004. This week, safety Tedrick Thompson has been named Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week after recording 2 interceptions against the Stanford Cardinal. Thompson now has 10 career picks and has become the 13th player in school history to have that many in a career. He is also tied for the most interceptions in the Pac-12 with Utah's Brian Allen and 3rd in the conference in passes defended. This award comes with no surprise after the Buffs' defense dominating game against Stanford.
The Buffs go into this week with a bye, the first they've had in many years. The team hopes to use this time to take a step back and prepare themselves for the coming weeks. Head coach Mike McIntyre addressed the media following practice on Wednesday for the first time since the team's Stanford win. He touched on whether they will be focusing on other teams this Saturday and more.
Basically, you can't watch scoreboards. It's a great question. It's a human nature to do. We have to take care of our own destiny on the field. And it all happens on the field. It doesn't matter what happens this weekend to next weekend. It really doesn't. You just got to, if we keep winning the games that we have to play, then we'll take care of ourselves. And that's what we need to do. We don't need to hope anybody else does anything. We need to take care of ourselves.
The Buffaloes football program returned to the rankings, coming in at number 23 in both the AP poll and the USA Today coaches poll. Earlier this year, the team was ranked number 21. A loss to USC knocked them out of the rankings. Since the loss, the Buffs have beaten Arizona State at home and Stanford on the road. Aside from their ranking earlier this year, the Buffs haven't been ranked since 2005. Currently, they are one of 3 teams ranked in the Pac-12.
Earlier this week, our own Jake Shapiro caught up with CU football's Shea Fields to talk about a new nickname, his quarterback, Sefa Lufau, and receivers coach Darren Chiavarini. Also on the discussion board is what it's like to be back in Boulder now that the team is bowl eligible. Here's the latest edition of 60 Seconds with a Buff.
Jake Shapiro for CU Sports Mag alongside Shea Fields.
Yes.
Shea, wide receivers having a terrific year thus far. You guys dubbed yourself the Blackout Boys. Where does that come from?
It honestly just came from we got Jawan in here. We wanted to find out what would be just a typical name for us, and we just chose the Blackout Boys, and we made a little hand signal. So
that's not Coach Chev's doing at all?
I mean, he had a little part, but not too much. It was mainly us.
Gotcha. Sefa Lufau's having a terrific year thus far. And what's made him so different this year? To me, he seems like a different quarterback.
The leadership role. I mean, he was that leadership role for us, so junior year until he got hurt, and then he stepped it up senior year this year. So I'll pretty much say just that leadership role.
How important is it to have a leader on your team? Because it looks like teams that are leaderless end up, struggling to get to the places you guys want to go.
It's very important, especially at the quarterback position. You want somebody that you can depend on and you can look for help if anything. And he's that guy that's always dependable.
Shea, you guys clinched a bowl over the weekend. Have you noticed anything in Boulder that's like, wow, you guys are going bowling? Is there anything in the attitude of the people in the community that are just so happy for you guys?
I mean, everybody's hyped up. It's like I just walk down the street and everybody's telling me we're going to the bowl game. Whichever bowl game you guys go to, they're all coming. So.
All right, I'm Jake Shapiro alongside Shea Fields. That's it for 60 Seconds with a Buff. We'll see you back on the desk.
Thanks, Jake. With the Buffs clinching bowl eligibility for the first time in many years, we wanted this week's question to reflect our excitement about the Buffs. We already said that the last time we played in a bowl game was 2007, and the last time we won a bowl game was 2004. So this week, we want to know, who did the Buffs beat in their 2004 bowl game? No Googling it, just brain power. We will have the answer to that question coming up for you later in the show. Well, it's time to take our first break, but stay tuned because when we return, Coach Boyle gave his thoughts to the press during the men's basketball media day, and we'll tell you what he said.
And Aaron Sullivan headed to the University Memorial Center to ask students about our basketball team. Don't touch that remote. Sports Mag will be right back.
All around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere, it's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors.
To respect the rights of others and accept our differences. Contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah,
but I don't know where to start.
that's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
Oh, I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran? Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
Last Tuesday, both the men and women's basketball teams had one of their preseason attractions with Media Day. All the live action started at 10:15 in the morning with the men's basketball team holding player interviews. followed by both men's and women's basketball coaches' press conferences. This gave the media an opportunity to interact with some of the team and ask some questions before the season gets going. I think I can speak for the whole school in saying that we are all excited for this season to start.
CU Buffs head coach Tad Boyle addressed the media following the team's practice on Tuesday during the program's annual media day. He previewed and answered questions about the team's upcoming season and started out tempering some of the hype surrounding the team this season.
But right now, we are, if I had to describe our team in one word, it would be overrated. We're not consistent enough to be considered a upper tier Pac-12 team right now. That's today, October, whatever, 27th, I don't even know what the date is. But we're a work in progress, we're getting better. Thank God the season does not start right now. We still have some time to get better. We've got a couple scrimmages coming up that we'll find out where we're at. But I think right now, I think our players might think we're a little bit better than we actually are. And that's the reality. So.
Here at SportsMag, we like to talk about our athletes and their stats, but not even we know how tall all of the basketball players are. We wondered if the student body knew the players' heights. Our very own Aaron Sullivan, otherwise known as Soul Fresh, Soul Clean, went to the UMC to ask questions about our basketball team in this week's edition of Man on the Street.
Hey guys, I'm Aaron Sullivan here with this week's Man on the Street. I'm here on campus quizzing students to see what they know about CU men's basketball. Let's get to it. How tall do you think the tallest player on the men's basketball team is?
I would personally guess no taller than me at 6'9".
I'm gonna say 6'10". 8 foot.
8 foot, wow.
6'10". 6'8".
7 foot.
Correct, good job. I'm gonna show you 3 photos. You're gonna tell me which one is head coach Tad Boyle, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Number 1, number 2, or number 3?
Number 3.
I'm gonna say the third one.
The third one? Ooh.
Oh, number 1. Definitely number 1.
1.
1? That's correct. Good job. There are 3 Buffs that are from foreign countries. I'm going to give you 3 last names. Tell me which one you think is from Brazil. Okay? Aki Azili, Seward, or Stratting?
Seward.
Stratting. Stratting.
Akizili.
Seward.
Correct. Very good.
Is his first name Cabezal?
It's actually Lucas, but that was a good guess. I'm going to test your math a little bit.
Okay.
If today is October 26th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the home opener is 16 days from now, what day is it on?
It's on the 12th of November.
November 10th.
Isn't the 11th?
Yes, good job.
The 11th.
Correct. Very good. Very good math. Nice.
I am a scientist.
But the home opener is against a California school, and their name starts with an S. What school is it against?
Santa Cruz.
Stanford.
South California. I really don't know. Is it Stanford?
Southern California.
Ooh, good guess. It's actually Sacramento State.
Okay.
But thank you so much, and can I get a go Buffs?
Go Buffs!
And by the way, I realized that I forgot to dress up, but I'm sure you guys look great back there in the studio. I'm Aaron Sullivan with this week's Man on the Street. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Aaron. After 2 conference wins in the 2015-2016 season, the CU women's basketball team looks to bounce back with their new head coach. J.R. Payne said she hopes to bring an up-tempo, transition-oriented offense to this year's team. Sophomore guard Alexis Robinson said she likes this new direction and it will set up the team for success during the season. Returning players Kennedy Leonard and Haley Smith look to step up after losing their leading scorer Jamie Swan. Coach Payne said she hopes to adapt her philosophy to as many players as possible.
Our volleyball team played the Oregon teams last week, going 1-1 with a win against Oregon State and a loss to the 23-ranked Oregon Ducks. The Buffs are now 12-8 on the year, but only have a 4-6 record in the Pac-12. The Buffs lost to Oregon in 4 sets, despite Gabby Simpson posting her 5th triple-double of conference play. The team falls to 9th in the Pac-12 and will need to get some big wins if they want to break the top 25 again this season.
After falling to 9th in the rankings, the volleyball Buffs will only have 10 more games to change that, facing off against Oregon and Oregon State again, giving them another chance to grab that win against the Oregon State Beavers. Their next 2 games in this second half of their season will be in Los Angeles, California, with a rematch against the UCLA Bruins, whom they beat last time, leaving fans with high expectations against this ranked opponent. The second game this weekend will be against the USC Trojans, who we lost to the last time we went up against them.
In his first season as the head coach of the volleyball team, Jesse Mahoney won his 100th Division I game. Before coming to CU, he was the head coach of the Denver Pioneers, where he won 88 games before being hired here by Rick George. Mahoney talked about his milestone, saying it just means he's getting old and that he has been surrounded by great players and great staff. Hopefully he can get another 100 wins here at CU. Congratulations to Jesse Mahoney on an incredible achievement.
Last week was busy for soccer and volleyball, and we decided to honor two of the athletes playing in those games. This week's Athletes of the Week are Gabby Simpson and Emily Bruder. Gabby Simpson posted another triple-double against Oregon, keeping up her great play this season. Emily Bruder and the soccer team played UCLA on Thursday, and Bruder scored what was eventually the game-winning goal in the 49th minute to bring their record to 8-1 in the conference. Keep up the good work.
We're going to take another break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we will discuss the soccer team and the momentum they've gotten since getting ranked in the top 25.
That's right, Alex. And Rachel Robinson is in studio to talk about the second best moment in Colorado history. Don't go anywhere. You'll immediately regret your decision.
Makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible.
And then we're going to turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
This is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Behind Taylor Korniak's shocking double overtime goal, the Colorado Buffaloes beat the California Golden Bears 3-2. Korniak's goal came with 2 seconds remaining in the fourth period on a header off of a free kick from Stephanie Zuniga. The dramatic goal was the latest game-winning goal scored in CU history and capped what was a dramatic game as the Buffs came back from a 2-1 deficit in the 87th minute.
The CU women's soccer team defeated 9th-ranked UCLA with a score of 1-0. Both teams battled hard in yesterday's game, keeping the score at 0 through the first half. Fresh out of halftime, Emily Bruder decided to take matters into her own hands and put the Buffs on top. She hustled the ball downfield, mixed through 2 defenders, scorched the ball, and bent it like Beckham into the far post. The lone goal was all the Buffs needed to seal a victory. CU is now first in the conference with a record of 8-1 in Pac-12 play and 14-4 overall. Goalie Jalen Tompkins saved 4 shots on goal for her 7th clean sheet of the season. The Buffs will take on 4th-ranked USC this Sunday at noon at Prentup Field.
The Buffaloes jumped to 13-4 overall and 7-1 in conference because of their win in Berkeley. That was good enough to keep them at number 22 in the National Soccer Coaches Association of America Top 25 poll. The hold in the rankings, however, is something to be proud of for Danny Sanchez's club, as the team faced 2 top 10 opponents on the road last weekend. And that number 22 is expected to rise as the Buffs took care of business against UCLA at home on Thursday.
We've spent a lot of time talking about the present of CU sports, but it's always important to look back. The soccer team has made a ton of progress over the years to get to where they are now. To reflect on the very start of this journey, we have Rachel Robinson in the studio for this week's edition of Buff Banter.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Rachel Robinson, the elephant, and this is Buff Banter. It's important to recount the school's sport history as well as their current success. Well, the soccer team is no different. Today, I will be reliving one of the top soccer moments in CU's history. In 1996, which also happens to be the year I was born, the Buffaloes took the field for the first game of the program's history. On November 8th, 1996, after just 3 games into the soccer season, the first season, the Buffaloes had their first win. The win was against LSU, and CU beat them 2-1 at their original home, the Pleasant View Soccer Complex. The first game the Buffaloes ever played was in California at Cal State Bakersfield. They ended up tying Cal State in their first match and lost 2-0 the next day. The Buffaloes were ready for a win against LSU at home and prepared accordingly. However, the team's first win against LSU did not start out the way they wanted it to. With only 4 minutes into the game, LSU scored. The Buffs continued to hold a tight defense for the remainder of the first half, until junior and midfielder Liz Swine tied up the match. Going into the second half, the teams were tied. CU had a 22-8 lead on shots. 9 of the 22 shots were on goal. The Buffaloes needed to give it their all the second half to end up on top, and that's exactly what the team did. Less than 10 minutes into the second half, freshman Sean Kenyon scored the goal that put CU in the lead. Throughout the rest of the second half, the team played a hard defense. The Buffaloes tried to keep their opponents from the goal and blocked the 3 attempted shots LSU had. The Buffaloes kept their lead and won the game by a point. Thus, the number 2 soccer moment in CU history was made, and for that matter, the first ever win for CU soccer. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. This has been Rachel Robinson, the elephant. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Rachel. In Pac-12 preview tournament, the Colorado Buffaloes women golf team fought their way to number 5 with the day's 3rd best round, rising up from number 9. On that final day, the Buffs finished with 13 birdies, with 4 players that scored in the final round. The Buffaloes stayed away from those high numbers, getting 47 pars and only 12 bogeys, and no double bogeys or higher. Freshman Christy Hodgkins got 6 of those birdies and led Colorado with a 4 under 69, tying for 9th on the final day. La 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 la, I'm an idiot, USC football rules, I love Nebraska, Big Red is the best.
Steve, wait, what are you even saying?
La 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 la, do-dee-do.
Come
la,
on,
la.
guys, for the last time, he'll read anything you put on the prompter, anything. You know what, we gotta figure this out. Let's take a break.
Has anyone seen Mickey? Well, guys, I hope I find him. But first, I need to do a mini sports update here on Rapid Fire.
What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
No, what'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Mom, I'm on the phone!
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right.
Sorry.
Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
For the first time since the school became part of the Pac-12, the Colorado men's cross-country team won't be a favorite to claim the team championships this year, a position the team is not very familiar with. The Buffs have won all 5 titles since they entered the Pac-12, but this year they entered the race as the only team ranked 7th. They have a real tough race ahead of them, facing off against both Stanford, who is ranked number 2, and Oregon, who is ranked at number 3.
The CU cross-country team is now nationally ranked as they head into the Pac-12 Conference Championships. The women are ranked first and will come into the meet to defend their title as conference champions. The men are ranked 7th, looking to win a 6th consecutive Pac-12 title. However, adding to their winning history will be a tough task. Both teams will be facing the top-ranked programs in the country, including Stanford, Oregon, UCLA, and many more. The championship will be held this Friday in Tucson, Arizona.
Wow. It's getting a lot hotter in here, like a lot hotter. It reminds me of a day back at the beach, back home in San Diego. It must be because Jess Rainey is here in studio with the fastest segment this side of the Mississippi. It's time for another toasty edition of Rapid Fire. Take it away, Jess.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Jess Rainey, but you can call me Minnie. I'm here with this week's Rapid Fire. I know you're all a little bit spooked out about this week's lineup for sports. However, don't be too scared to come out and support the Buffs at all their games this week. This weekend, you will all be running from Ghosts and Zombies, while our cross-country team is running in the Pac-12 Championship, which is wrapping up right now. Best of luck to the team, finish strong. Later tonight, we have the women's volleyball team facing the UCLA Bruins, starting at 7 in Pasadena. UCLA is currently ranked 12th, so the girls will really have to bring their A game for the win. Next, on Sunday, we have our women's soccer team kicking and screaming against USC on our own turf at noon. This week, the football team may be dead, but don't worry, Thursday they will be alive and playing UCLA right here on Folsom Field. Kickoff is at 7, make sure to wear your black. Well guys, I didn't mean to scare you too much. I'm Jess, this was Rapid Fire. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jess. I hope you stashed that phone and used only your head to figure out the trivia question we asked you earlier in the show. In case you forgot, we asked, who did the Buffs beat in their 2004 bowl game? And we will finally tell you the answer. It was the University of Texas at El Paso. The Buffs played the Houston Bowl against the Miners and came away with a 33-28 win way back when the Buffs were still in the Big 12. Currently, Green Bay Packers ace kicker Mason Crosby in that game hit 4 field goals. One of those was from 54 yards. Quarterback Joel Klatt threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for 333 yards. UTEP led most of the game, but the Buffs were able to steal the victory away from the Miners late in the 4th quarter.
This week's Tweet of the Week is a tribute to Vine. Yes, the 6-second video sharing app. As of this week, Twitter announced Vine will officially shut down, and some of us are taking this news harder than others. Chip the Buffalo is probably most devastated about this new development. To pay respects to the 6-second sensations, Chip posted a Vine on Twitter with the caption, "R.I.P. Vine, do you need a hug from Chip the Buffalo?" Chip can be seen hugging a sign that reads, "Hug and go." This Vine is a symbol of the good times we shared with the app. We can all say goodbye and our move on with our lives, still cherishing those precious memories. We feel for you, Chip, but fear not. You can still view previous Vines. You just can't make any new ones.
Well, Alex, helping out this college sports show actually went really well.
That's right. It was a delight. An afternoon delight.
Yet no skyrockets were visible in flight.
Fair enough. As much fun as I had today, I do miss Channel 4, and I miss San Diego.
Well, you're in luck, Alex, because we're out of time for today's episode. Thanks to the lovely people of the show for letting us fill in. I'm Alex Doyle. Excuse me, I'm Steve Nelson. That's Alex Doyle. This is Sports Mag. Have a safe Halloween weekend, and you stay classy, Boulder.